Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth. Welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Cedar Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the famous roundtable shows up. We'll get into all sorts of controversies with them. Some great guests, important information coming your way throughout the half hour, so I hope you'll stay with us. Where we want to start, though, is talking about the very serious subject of breast cancer and breast cancer surgery. We do that with a returning guest. Well, I don't know if she likes me or not. It's been 11 years since she showed up here, so we're glad. Don't let it be another 11 years there. Dr. Jennifer Kristen, lead clinician with Novant Health Breast Surgery in Winston-Salem and Kernersville. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
All right, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but we need to be talking about this all the time. So just to get us started, how common is breast cancer and how many people does it usually affect?
So breast cancer is extremely common. It's a leading cause of death in women, cancer-related death in women. 1 out of every 8 women will be affected by breast cancer over some point in her life, and even over 2,000 men, something in the range of about 2,700 men annually be affected by breast cancer.
That's a surprising number on the men's side, too. A lot of people don't realize that.
That's correct.
Now, Novant Health just opened a new breast surgery in several locations. I'm going to put those up on screen in a little bit. But just tell me about that. It's kind of exciting to know that.
It's very exciting. So we opened 2 new clinics just earlier this month. One location is on Lyndhurst Avenue in Winston-Salem, and our second satellite clinic remains here in Kernersville, in the Kernersville area. And we're going to be dedicated to offering exclusively breast cancer and breast surgery care for women and men in those locations.
Right, and what should a breast cancer patient expect when he or she comes to one of the new clinics?
Yeah, so historically, patients with a newly diagnosed breast cancer, their care can be a little bit fragmented, where a woman gets a biopsy and then waits for a referral to a general surgery clinic. There she might wait in a clinic with patients with a variety of different complaints, pain attacks, wound care issues. Not necessarily the most inviting environment for a woman with a newly diagnosed breast cancer. So our clinic is going to be dedicated to providing care for just women with breast cancer.
Very exclusive.
Exclusively that, and other breast surgery needs, but predominantly breast cancer. And that care will be exclusively for them by a team of surgeons that are dedicated to breast surgery care and breast surgery care only.
Now, will you guys be working alongside other cancer services or what? How does that work?
Yes, so our services ought to be looked at as an extension of the Novant Health Cancer Institute. When a woman gets diagnosed with a new breast cancer, she'll be paired up with a nurse navigator. They'll be referred to our clinic where we can then help to guide that woman along her path, or patient, as we said, men are affected too.
Right.
Guide them along their path as the surgeon, but also dedicating their path along with the oncologists and the radiation team, and hopefully being a guiding light as they go through their treatments.
Oh, that's just great. Now, look, I'd be remiss if I don't ask you this, because I know folks at home want me to. When should a woman, let's focus on that for a second, when should a woman first get a mammogram and how often?
So a woman at the age of 40 should start getting mammograms annually. That depends on their family history or their own personal medical history. There are reasons for people to get mammograms earlier, but generally for an average risk, start at age 40 and annually after that. I've
been doing this for 52 years now, and a lot of interviews, and I have actually, I'm not making this up, heard people privately come and say to me, women, well, thanks for giving us that information, but I don't want to get a mammogram because I don't want to know. What do you say?
I'd say early detection is key. Outcomes are better, and women do better, patients do better when we find it when it's small and early. And treatment cannot necessarily affect the rest of their life if they get it detected early.
Absolutely. Up on screen, I want to remind everybody about the locations. Winston-Salem, the phone number's up there, 277-6300. Same phone number for Kernersville, and Greensboro, 660-5540. For more information, you can go to novanthealth.org/breast surgery. Of course, the overall website, the main website, novanthealth.org. And I really appreciate you doing this, and I hope you'll come back sometime soon. I want to talk about who or what motivated you to get into medicine. Will you come back sometime?
Happy to.
All right, Doc. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, time to salute successful entrepreneurs. And we have 2 of them right here, and one especially who helps entrepreneurs become successful. On my immediate right, my good friend, Karen Barnes, founding CEO of Agile City, Winston-Salem, and she has brought a special guest with her today, David Hosia. He's founder and CEO of something called Parrots, P-A-R-R-O-T-S, Inc. And we welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
Hi. Thank you.
Karen, let me start with you as usual. Just remind everybody what Agile City is and how you came to work with David and what the relationship is.
Yeah, absolutely. So Agile City's signature entrepreneurship program is called the Venture Winston Grants. It is a startup grant competition. We had 1,200 applications from literally all over the world. We narrowed that down to our first cohort of only 9 companies. And my friend David here is one of the 9 who walked away with a $50,000 grant and a 12-month residency here in Winston-Salem. So David's platform, Parrots, is an AI-driven platform we're so excited about. It is helping people with neurological disorders connect with the outside world and communicate.
That's just great. David, what is your company all about? What's the mission?
Our mission is empowering people with physical and communication challenges to connect with the world.
Was there a particular inspiration you had for doing this?
I have many reasons. Starting when I was a kid, my uncle got a spinal cord injury and he became with severe disability using a wheelchair. And then my aunt passed away because multiple sclerosis. So I know the challenge taking care of someone with severe neurological disorders and injuries. And then after college, my friend got ALS, like Stephen Hawking, and eventually he lost the ability to communicate, walk, and using his hand, and not even to speak to his little son nowadays. So all this thing, my background, even myself, because I'm passionate about innovation since I was a kid. So I can use my skills, my passion to help all these people, not just my family and friends, make this.
But everyone.
Everyone.
All right, now this is going to be hard to do in a discussion like this, and it's because we could spend hours on this, but give me an example of a device that you would think about, that you've created or that can help people in these situations who are in wheelchairs, for example. Give me an example.
I have many examples. I will give you not just with Parrot, even before. I built a convertible wheelchair to convert to a walker. That's one thing. And I built even a medical drone to send medical equipment from point A to point B.
Okay.
I even work to do AR, VR game for people with chronic diseases. Until now, I founded Parrot, which is build Poly, which is our platform to help people with neurological disorders, first with smart communications plus telehealth solutions.
Really helping on the communication side. And the whole Poly and Parrot thing, how did that all come about? What the name?
Why the name?
Yeah.
The name came because one of the birds, parrots, they can mimic your voice. And they can be a very friendly companion for human. And it's kind of this, our system can be like a smart, using AI machine learning to be their companion, their assistant.
Right. Now, I just think it's great that you're helping to improve quality of life for patients like that. You're really to be saluted for that. I appreciate that. And up on screen, for more information, you can go to flyparrots.com, flyparrots.com. Also check out agilecity.ws. And of course, our thanks as always to Inmar Intelligence for suggesting this segment. That's inmar.com. To Karen, thanks for what you've been doing and continue to do to support entrepreneurship and innovation. David, congratulations on helping so many people. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today. So glad to get some of these good folks from Crosstalk back on the show. It's been a while since we visited with them, and they do such great work and always have. On my right, my good friend, Holly Kessler is Senior Director of Community Relations at Crosstalk Communities for Children, and she brought along a special guest. Kelly Riley is Director of Fostering Home Licensing and Training for Crosstalk Communities for Children. Good to see you, ladies.
Good to be here.
Good to see you.
Holly, let me start with you, just for folks maybe who have just moved into the area or don't know. Very quickly, what's the mission of Crosstalk?
So first, I'll just mention that Crosstalk School and Children's Home used to be our name the last time we were on the show, and we rebranded last summer to Crosstalk Communities for Children. Our mission is to grow healthy futures for children and families by providing a Christian sanctuary of hope and healing. And so what that really means is that we work with children and family in need, mostly those that are involved with the Department of Social Services through foster care. We also have some family preservation services for families to try to keep their children at home, and then our outpatient therapy services as well.
Well, since you brought up foster care, let me turn to Kelly. Remind us what foster care is.
Foster care is primarily about keeping kids safe. So there is some reason that they cannot stay in their family of origin or their home of origin and be safe. So it's a temporary service where the kids can live in a screened and approved home while their family of origin works on the things they need to work on so that they can get back together and live safely.
Is there a specific need in foster care these days?
Absolutely. I would say foster families that can take sibling groups, that can take more than one child at a time, and also therapeutic foster parents. Now, therapeutic foster care is a special kind of foster care for kids that have a little bit higher level of need. They have a mental health diagnosis or a behavioral health diagnosis. And so for our therapeutic parents, they get more training, but they also get more support from the agency to meet those needs. But since January, we've received over 100 requests for therapeutic foster home placements, and
Wow.
about 98% of them we can't even consider just because we don't have the availability. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, Holly, you told me one time we were talking that individuals and groups can help when it comes to foster care. What did you mean that they can help?
Yes, so we have an initiative that we call Fostering Communities, and we're looking for individuals, civic groups, particularly churches, our church groups, that want to come around foster families and support them. Fostering is a hard job, and a lot of families that foster even have their own children, so they're adding even more kids to their home. And so to build a fostering community around those families and the children they serve is real important, and it could be anything, as a church comes around a family, maybe it's bringing meals periodically, maybe it's cutting the grass. We do know one instance is that we had a family down in our Hendersonville region who was accepting a sibling group of small children, and a church in their area came to them and said, "We know that you live on kind of a busy street. We're going to build a fence around your backyard
How
so
about
these
that?
kids can play
Isn't that
safely."
something?
So it's that kind of thing.
Kelly, before time gets away from us, is it a complicated process if I want to become a foster parent, and what kind of qualifications do I have to have?
Sure. It's fair to say that it is involved. There is, between the training and the paperwork and the home visits, there's a lot that goes into it to make sure families are well prepared and that we've done our work to make sure it's a safe place for kids. But the qualifications are relatively minimal. You need to be 21 years old, you need to have stable housing and income. There are some limitations to criminal history, and you need to maintain a drug-free environment. And other than that, it's about walking with staff through the process to do the training and the visits and all of that to make sure that fostering is a good fit.
And fostering is a good thing, and I just appreciate what y'all are doing with it. Up on screen, crossnor.org, still the same website. And for those of you that know about that, crossnor.org, please check that out to learn all about what is being offered. And Holly and Kelly, thanks for everything you're doing.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today. Usually when we have our buddy David Daggett here, he is with his partner Griff Schuler, and they are sort of, it's like a business marriage, but Griff can't be here today. So David has brought along two people that are actually married, and with us right now, Kristen King, owner and agent of Kristen Martin State Farm Insurance, and Rob King, owner, president, and CEO of Bob King Automotive Group. And he is king of the world, and I've always wanted to meet you and meet you too. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about a really fun event that promotes fitness. And let's get right to it. David, I want to get the particulars from you, then I want to talk to Kristen and Rob. Tell me what the Smiley Triathlon Festival weekend is all about.
So we have two triathlons. On next Saturday, we have a kids triathlon. That's for kids 14 and under. Sunday, we have an adult triathlon. We've put those two together in one weekend to make it a festival weekend. It's a great event. It was initially started to honor a good friend of Kristen and mine, actually, Richard Smiley.
He was your trainer, was that
He
right?
was
Okay.
for 10 years. Yeah.
Who died of brain cancer. And it was a couple years later, and you tend to fade away on those sort of things, and I just didn't want it to fade away.
No.
So started a triathlon, because there were no adult triathlons in Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I had been the title sponsor of the Kids for Kids triathlon for the previous 17 years. took that over, put them both together into one event.
What a great idea. Now, are the kids' events, though, is it age appropriate? So if you
Yes.
have a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old?
Yeah, we have a 7 to 10-year-old division and 11 to 14-year-old.
Okay. And I'll put up on screen and mention in just a minute.
It's a fun, safe day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we'll give all the information again on when everything is and where it is. But before we do that, I want to go to Kristen and Rob, and both of you answer this. Both of you successful entrepreneurs. You support a lot of different causes. Why is it important to support this particular festival? And I'll start with Kristen.
Well, Richard was a good friend of mine, as David mentioned, and my trainer for about 10 years. He died in 16. In 17, my own children participated for the first time in the Kids for Kids triathlon that David sponsored. So again, fast forward to 2022, we've now bridged two things that are super important to me, continuing the smiley spirit in our community, continuing to encourage kids to become active at an early age and love the sport, whether it be swimming, running, biking, or whatever it is, and also all the while raising some money for some cancer research.
Right. Rob, same question.
Well, first off, I'm married to Kristen. So her passion is my passion. I'm not married to David. David and I have been acquaintances for some time, and candidly, he said, what are you guys doing? And like Kristen, we try to do a lot in the community, but this one hits home. Hits home for Kristen because David was a friend. One of my best friend's wife is a brain cancer survivor, 8 years going. So it really hits home with me as well. And it seems like the perfect fit. What better way to have our families involved and learning to give back while becoming healthy and picking a new lane.
Right.
Just seems like a natural for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are so important to this. Before we run out of time, I want to go back to the kids thing, Kristen. So many kids, they're just doing video games or they're watching TV or whatever. So this is a good way to get them involved, right?
It's a fun day, and they all have a great time. And it is a healthy competition, but mainly it's just getting out there and moving. And a lot of the parents are involved as well, and it's great to be outside.
All right, I want to do this, get this stuff up on screen too. It's important. The Smiley Triathlon Festival, and David, correct me if I get anything wrong. It's Clemens West Pool and community area for all of this. Kids for Kids Triathlon, Saturday, July 23rd. This is up on screen. The Sprint Triathlon for adults, July 24th. And just about any adults, very quickly. I mean, there's no restriction on that as long as you're healthy.
No restriction.
3 websites, SmileyTriathlonFestival.com, SmileySprintTri.com, KidsForKidsTriathlon.com. All that's up on screen. If you should need the services of Daggett Schuler, their information is on screen as well. DaggettSchulerLaw.com, 724-1234. Kristen and Rob, how did you meet?
We met through friends.
Met through a friend. Is he still a friend?
We're still friends. Yeah, we're still friends.
Testimony to the marriage.
Yeah.
Thanks all three of you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're going to stick around with the round table, right?
Yes, sir. Thanks,
Okay.
Jeff.
We'll be right back. Right now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at Senior Botanical Garden. Check out the garden, check out the website, come out, rent the facility, it's great. And now on my right, but always political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster journalist, held over from his last segment talking about the big triathlon festival, David Daggett, and Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Guys, I'm going to try to wade through this first question. Pardon me for having to take more time on it. But last week, the Winston-Salem Schools, Forsyth County School System terminated a $1.4 million contract with Action for Equity following a report of an alleged inappropriate relationship between one of Action Equity's mentors and a student that he or she was or might have been mentoring. That mentor has been fired. Now, Action for Equity oversees 20 adult mentors to work with 200 at-risk kids in 4 different schools. School administration says the agency didn't report the firing in a timely manner. The agency disputes that. Now, my quick question to you guys is, not knowing all the facts, and you know the superintendent wants to protect kids, also says, hey, there's plenty of other mentoring programs we're going to put in place, temporarily, of course, big brothers, big sisters, David's a big brother, you know, they can step in there. But is there a lawsuit coming on this, Ogie? I mean, is it throwing the baby out with the bathwater?
Well, I'll leave the lawsuit part to Dr. Daggett, but I do think those people do really good work, and it's important work. And I do think it's a bit of an overreaction for one incident to pull the plug on the whole program. I really do.
David.
It would appear that way from the outside, and certainly it's a bad circumstance. The question is, what is the contract with the school system, and then what are the internal processes of the organization? I don't know what those are or what processes they went through, and those could provide the answers as to what should really happen in this situation.
200 at-risk kids being mentored. What do you think, Keith?
Well, I'm going to go very a little differently. I think that if you do something like that, you have somebody in that program, and they violate a kid like that, the program has to go.
The whole program.
The whole program has to go.
Okay. Now, speaking of schools, Republican lawmakers in Raleigh want to take away the governor's power to appoint members to the State Board of Education and instead have them elected according to congressional districts. Guys, quickly, are you okay with electing members to the State Board of Education? Ogie.
Pure Republican politics yet again, because they can't gerrymander a state race, and they can get their little gerrymandered legislators in there and pack the school boards with Republicans. Same old, same old.
David Daggett.
Typically, I'm in favor of electing these people.
Right.
However, in the current dysfunctional state we're in, I'm not sure we can get any administrative processes moved through and handled through an elective system. I'm for the appointed system.
Republicans want to take away the governor's right to appoint, Keith.
You know what this is about. It's all about gerrymandering, and it's wrong, and we continue to deal with this even when the judge said his rulings is wrong, but they continue to try to take over power. Wrong.
All right, in another story, the Texas Board of Education has proposed the new social studies standards for second graders. Now get this, they want to eliminate the word slavery and replace it with involuntary relocation. Is this crazy, racist, or constructive? Oh,
Crazy. Typical Texas. Everything. What is it, Texas? That used to be a nice state. I used to go to Austin all the time.
I know. They don't want you down there right now. David.
No, this is not good at all. Something hidden in there, though, that's even more dangerous is the state of Texas is the third largest school book purchaser in the United States. And when you have a big customer requiring a change, that will then spill into other states. It's bad.
Keith.
I mean, what do you call slavery other than slavery? You were a slave. You came over here and you were enslaved. The economy was built on slavery.
Absolutely.
There's nothing else you can call it.
We're going to send you an Ogie down to Texas.
Slavery is all you can call it.
You have laryngitis today, don't you?
I do.
I'm sorry. All right. Well, I'll try. I won't make you work too hard. Despite the fact that the Highland Park Police had previously confiscated weapons from this 18-year-old boy that massacred 7 people and designated him as a clear and present danger, his daddy still went out there and signed for him to get an assault rifle. Now, guys, the father supposedly is bankrupt, so even though he can be sued civilly, my question to you guys quickly, in situations like this across the nation, should there be a federal law that puts parents like this in prison for life when people are massacred? Ogie.
Normally, I have a problem with holding parents responsible. You see Dr. Phil, all these crazy, out-of-control kids. But in this case, I think the guy, he signed for the kid after he threatened to kill everybody.
Right.
I think he's culpable, maybe not for life, but he needs to do some time.
It's interesting. I think this circumstance is a perfect example that our gun rights / gun laws, I'm a believer in guns, is discombobulated and needs to completely be recalibrated. And it's circumstances like this that are clear warning signs of that. We got to do something.
Keith.
I mean, this is, he should do time. Not life, but he should do time.
All right. Another 4th of July holiday is behind us once again. About 12,000 fireworks-related injuries. An 11-year-old boy died. Very quickly, guys. Should we make all fireworks illegal in residential areas except for sparklers? Quickly, yes or no?
I have no problem with that. My dog still won't go out even now after the 4th of July a week ago.
Yeah, I can't go to the bathroom now from the, no. David.
We had little firecrackers when I was a kid. It's individual responsibility.
Keith.
I think it should be illegal in neighborhoods.
All right, finally, guys, there are a growing number of women around the country who get together and dress up as mermaids, actually spending more time with their tails in water. Guys, if you were unattached, would you date a woman who dresses like a mermaid? Ogie.
I know some of those mermaids, one of them quite well.
I bet you.
Well, they go to special events and they sit in fountains and it's like an attraction. They don't do it all the time.
Would you date them?
I have a good friend, Eni Jones. She's my age. She was one of the top swimmers in the nation for years, and she does the mermaid routine. Assuming, you got to make a lot of assumptions, but assuming I wasn't married and assuming she liked me and everything else, yes.
Would you date a mermaid, Keith?
There's no reason to date a mermaid. She has a tail. What are you dating her for? I don't even swim. What am I dating a mermaid
It's
for?
got Keith so upset. He can't even talk.
I don't
Well,
even
anyway, that's
swim.
all.
I don't even like to go in the water. I'm not dating a
Yeah,
mermaid.
it's not going in there.
She's
It's
trying
too
to
much
drown
danger.
me. That's what she's trying to do, drown me. I don't want to be drowned.
All right, so that's all the time we have, except for this. The corporation who owns Krispy Kreme now says they're getting into owning the pet insurance business. So I guess that's a sign that you shouldn't feed your dogs donuts. I don't know what that means, but it's just in case, you don't
Just
know.
like that mermaid question.
It's like the mermaid question. And we're all going to Texas. I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.